Once upon a time, in a kingdom far away, there lived a beautiful princess named Alara. She was loved by all for her kindness, but one fateful night, she vanished without a trace. The king and queen, heartbroken and frantic, ordered the entire kingdom to search for her, but she was nowhere to be found. Days passed, but there was no sign of the princess. Just as hope seemed lost, a mysterious old woman appeared at the castle gates, holding a strange, worn map. She whispered, "The princess is trapped in the heart of the forbidden forest." But what did she mean? Was the woman friend or foe? Desperate, the king gathered his bravest knights and ventured into the dark woods, the map their only guide. The trees grew thicker, and the air colder with whispers that seemed to come from every direction. The ground trembled underfoot, and the knights began to feel they were not alone. Suddenly, a shadow passed over them. Was it the wind, or was something watching from the trees? The knights quickened their pace, but fear began to take hold. The deeper they went, the more unnatural the forest seemed. The path they followed suddenly split in two, and the knights were unsure of which way to take. Then, out of nowhere, a boulder rolled across the path, blocking their way. From the darkness emerged 7 small, gruff men, each cloaked in different colors. Their eyes glimmered with both caution and power. "You shall not pass without our blessing," the tallest one declared. Who were they, and why did they block the path? The oldest of the dwarfs, Thorn, stepped forward. "The princess is not lost," he said, his voice deep and cryptic. "She is trapped in a realm between light and darkness, a place only those pure of heart can reach." But what did that mean? Could these dwarfs be trusted? The king, desperate to save his daughter, agreed to follow their guidance. But the moment he did, the forest seemed to shift. The trees creaked and groaned as though they were alive, and the sky darkened in response to the king's decision. Thorn handed the king a crystal lantern, its light soft but steady. "Follow this light," Thorn warned, "but be prepared. The further you go, the more the shadows will try to pull you into their grip." The group moved on, the lantern's glow cutting through the thick darkness. As they crossed a river of swirling, glowing blue water, the water seemed to shift. Strange hands reached out from beneath, grasping at the knight's legs, dragging them toward the depths. One knight screamed as he was pulled under the dark current. What lay beneath those glowing waves? Was this the work of the shadows? After crossing the river, the group finally reached the edge of the shadow realm, where twilight hung in the air, neither day nor night. A sense of dread washed over them. Ahead stood a towering castle made of jagged stone, surrounded by a dense, swirling black mist. Was this where the princess was held? As the king and his men approached the castle, the lantern's light flickered, casting eerie shadows on the ground. The king hesitated, heart pounding. Something didn't feel right. Suddenly, a whisper echoed in the air. "You are too late." Who spoke those words? Was it the princess, or was it the curse? The doors of the castle creaked open on their own, and the king stepped inside. The air inside was frigid, thick with the smell of decay. The walls were covered in dark vines, and the floor felt slick with something ancient and evil. Suddenly, a shadow moved in the corner of the room, and the king turned to see a pair of glowing red eyes staring at him from the darkness. Was this the princess, or something far more sinister? The lantern flared to life, its light illuminating a figure, a tall, cloaked sorcerer, his eyes glowing like embers. "You shouldn't have come," the sorcerer hissed. Could the king defeat him, or was he already doomed? The sorcerer raised his hands, summoning dark magic that crackled through the air. The king could feel the power surrounding him, closing in. But then a soft voice echoed through the castle. "Father, I am here." The king's heart leapt. Was it truly Alara, or was it another trick? The sorcerer screamed in fury, but the light from the lantern grew brighter, pushing back the shadows. As the light filled the room, the figure in the corner began to step forward. The princess, glowing with soft golden light, appeared before the king. Her eyes were filled with both sorrow and strength. "Father," she whispered, "I've been waiting for you." Had the curse been broken? The sorcerer, furious, charged toward the king. But before he could strike, Alara raised her hand, and a wave of pure light erupted from her, engulfing the sorcerer. The shadows writhed and screamed as they were banished. The sorcerer fell to the ground, vanquished, his magic shattered. Alara had broken the curse. But just as the princess and the king embraced, the castle began to crumble around them. The earth shook, and the sky turned from twilight to dawn, the dark magic fading into nothingness. Alara, once lost, was now free. The king took her hand and they made their way out of the collapsing castle. The dwarfs stood waiting at the forest's edge, nodding in approval as Alara stepped into the light. The king and princess made their way back to the kingdom they thought they'd lost forever. As the people rejoiced, the dwarfs silently disappeared back into the forest, their duty fulfilled. Alara ruled with wisdom, kindness, and strength, forever guided by the magic of the lantern, which remained as a reminder of her journey. And so the kingdom was free, the princess returned, and peace was restored. The curse was broken, and with it, the shadows that had plagued them for so long.